The United States Justice Department found that 5 out of 6 prisoners released in 2005 across 30 different states were arrested at least once within 9 years following their release. This makes me wonder, why are prisoners going back to prison for the same crimes as if they haven't already learned their lesson? Why are prisoners going back into the system that they just got out of and still trying to escape from? See, prison is just a form of punishment by the criminal justice system for individuals who commit crimes and break laws. Depending on the severity of the crimes or the laws being broken can determine the number of years one serves for their punishment. I then came to the realization that it is not prisoners want to willingly go back to prison, but it's the prisons itself and the criminal justice system failing to provide them with the necessary resources in order to re-enter society a better individual. The idea of the system being the problem has caused national controversy and national debate over prison reform. Prisoners are being wrongly mistreated and serving longer convictions than their punishment originally intended to. And this has been going on for a very long time. When it comes to thinking about prison reform, though, we have to look at it from multiple angles. There is an outside perspective where those are the people that will probably never have to come in contact with the criminal justice system or know someone personally that will. There's then the inside perspective, or the perspective where they operate the system, and those are the people like the police officers, the lawyers, the judges, and the social workers. Those people can see the pros and cons of prisons and the criminal justice system because they are working within it. We then have the people on the inside perspective, where these are the people that are actually going to be impacted by the criminal justice system, whether they're going to prison, coming in contact with them, or even knowing someone personally that has or will. I want to first begin by looking at the outside perspective of the criminal justice system to see where we're going. The idea behind prisons in the criminal justice system is based off a moral education theory explained by Gene Hampton. This is probably one of the best ways of explaining how prisons work and their idea of what they should be doing. She makes an analogy with a dog and a fence. If you put a shock collar around a dog and every time it tries to leave the boundaries of the fence, it gets shocked and it comes back. This will then eventually, by the dog trying numerous times, will teach the dog that this infliction of pain hurts and I do not want to keep getting shocked anymore. A human, on the other hand, she makes a distinction by saying that a human will theorize about why there is a fence in the first place, since they are more intellectual than a dog. There's maybe something on the other side of the fence that I cannot see that is dangerous, and this boundary is protecting me from it. However, you have to begin to question, what if you are the thing that is dangerous and the thing on the other side is what is being protected? This is how prisons are set up. Are prisons set up to protect the prisoners, or are they designed to protect society? However, if this protecting society is also benefiting them as well, because you have people that are willing to work inside of the prisons and work inside to make sure that the system runs effectively as it should, or to possibly make change. So we have to ask, is it helping? Is the criminal justice system helping? And those people are the people that are actually operating, can give us a better insight into that perspective. Again, these are our police officers, lawyers, and social workers. We have Amy Shepard, who was a woman that worked as a social worker to make sure that women had the proper sanitary conditions to survive inside prison and even outside prison. She was able to see how prisons can help, but she sees how they are ineffective as well. which is why she was able to propose a great method in explaining a way to rehabilitate, regulate, and punish at the same time. She wants to ultimately see the criminal justice system do more good than harm, as it should be able to rehabilitate the citizens so that they can re-enter society as a better person. Even while they're in prison, they're stripped of their basic right to vote, and thus making them not even be able to contribute back to the society that they possibly took away from. We then have the people on the inside who are the people that are the criminals, who are going to come in contact with the people that operate this system of the criminal justice system. This, unfortunately, is disproportionately affecting African American communities because they don't have the necessary resources in their community in order to survive. We then have politicians who put drugs into their community and have strict drug laws so that they are not able to be as free and inflicting damage upon their community. This stems from all the way to slavery and Jim Crow days when there were wanted signs for slaves that ran away. So now today we just have prisoners who are of the African American and sometimes Latinx community that are being disproportionately represented and charged with longer sentences. Since they are impacted by the tougher laws, this can cause them to get worse jobs going into the marketplace. They might not be able to get stronger jobs to provide for their family because with the background record and the color of their skin, no one is going to want to give them a job. According to an article by Sekou Odinge, it was reported that for an average one person prison, for one person in a prison, it is $4,000, and that is a lot of taxpayer money. So, which is why now laws are starting to dial back, and people are starting to want to care more about prison reform because it is affecting the people on the outside perspective. It's affecting their money. In order to understand prison reform, we have to look at this at multiple angles because some people are never going to come in contact, so they might not really care. However, there are people that are in the system that want to see change, and there are people outside that might also want to see change that they can see. And then the people that is disproportionately affecting on the inside want change to come. We have to think about prisoners as humans, and I think that's what one aspect we forget about. They are people who just simply made mistakes, and in order for them to right their wrongs, we need to help them correct their mistakes and rehabilitate so that they can be better individuals. That's prison reform.